Hello and welcome. Yes, I'm back with another secret episode. Yes. So, we are going to be talking about submissive women submit to providers or men of means or what have you. Okay. And no lie value men. Okay. Lie value for a reason. So, um, let's start here. So it seems as though some men, or just certain men, the janky men, the jankish men, they don't seem to know what submit means. They don't seem to know what submissive means. Okay, what does submit mean? Well, submit does not mean a constant cook, maid, or a slave, or even an abuse victim. Okay. Submit does not mean submitting to a struggle life or hustle bustle life, or submitting to poverty or accompanying a poor man into poverty. Because what are they submitting to? Poverty? What? So, yes, it does not mean that. Mhm. Submit does not mean stupidly and desperately submitting to your own detriment, even though your emotional, mental, physical, or even financial um well-being is disturbed or compromised. That's not what submit means. Okay? Because when a woman is naturally submissive, she will submit without having to be told, without being told or asked or forced to submit. When she has a provider man, if a woman has a provider man, she will naturally submit. She does not need to be told or be asked. Okay, so that's what that is. She has to be forced into submission, and she's probably doing it out of desperation because, well, desperate people make desperate decisions. Okay. So, and so if a woman is stupidly submitting to a man who is abusive, or she's forced to submit, or she's told to submit, or what have you, that's not natural submission. That's not submitting naturally. You don't have a submissive woman. What you have is a Stockholm syndrome woman. Okay, with Stockholm syndrome, when the person who's being held captive, she's held in captivity, or even after she's out of captivity, she will have empathy, sympathy, or even identify with her captor, with the person who held her captive. So really, she's a Stockholm syndrome victim, and that's who you have. You do not have a submissive woman. Okay, now that we've looked at what submit does not mean, what does submit mean? So what does it mean to submit, to be submissive? Well, it's in the word submit. Okay. Submit means um we submit these expenses for you to pay, these bills. Well, no, there's more. Submit means we submit our time to you, so that way you can provide for us. Okay? We are giving you the privilege to be our provider, man. Okay? We trust you to pay these bills. We trust you to provide. We trust that you will have us covered. Because we are covered. We feel safe enough to submit to you, to submit our time, so that way you can provide. That's what submit is. Submit means we are not going to do a struggle life, hustle bustle life. We are not going to be bogged down, weighed down, wondering, worrying, you know, about being provided for. So that's why we feel safe to submit. Okay. So since we are not going to be weighed down and bogged down, we're going to have time to submit. That means that we are not going to be combative, argumentative, confrontational, competitive, and we are not going to challenge you because we don't have to. We are submissive women. Okay. That's what submit means. Since we are able to submit our time to you, we have our time. We have the time to really submit. We don't have to be asked. We don't have to be told. We don't have to be forced because we are naturally submissive women. Okay. That's what submit means. We submit our time. We've given you the privilege to be our provider, to provide for us. And we know that we are covered. We feel safe. Okay. We trust you to pay these bills. And I just repeated it. That's what it means. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, it does not mean a constant cook, a slave, or a maid, or an abuse victim, or an S-slave, or what have you. That's not what submit means. Okay. So, and I mentioned earlier, it does not mean accompanying a poor man into poverty or tolerating brokenness or what have you. But really, just because a man is super rich or he's a billionaire, or, he has all the money in the world, because yes, you should determine, if the man is worthy of being your provider man based on certain things, based on certain factors. But a man can be a billionaire, have all the money in the world, be super rich or what have you, and he can still be broke mentally or energetically. Okay. He can still be a broken man. So you have to be mindful of that. Yes. And and I don't mean broke financially, because that's something else, but you have to determine if the man is worthy of being your provider, not just on his money, on how much money he has. No, that's not always enough to decide if a man is worthy of being your provider, to give a man the privilege to be in your presence. Okay. Yes, that's what that is. And I mentioned live value men, which brings me to this point. What are live value men like? What are they? Well, a live value men are, once again, those janky men, those jankish men who feel the need to broadcast that they are high value, to manipulate women. Because why would you need to broadcast and acknowledge it, point it out that you are high value? And I don't even use the word high value because it is such a janky word. I prefer invaluable man. When something is invaluable, or someone is invaluable, or a valuable man. Valuable men, invaluable men, they don't have to broadcast that they are high value, because a woman will see that they are valuable or invaluable when based on the man's action, because a man will speak with his actions. He will, you'll know, based on how he presents himself, based on how he carries himself. And also when he starts providing, he starts spending, and he starts paying these bills, that's how you'll know if he's valuable to you or if he's invaluable. He doesn't have to tell you that he is high value, because that is such a janky word. Okay. And it's not like he's on some value menu and telling you, oh, this is the value menu, and the other menu is like the actual menu. Okay. You're not like, just think about it. When you go to a high-end restaurant or a high-end hotel or a high-end anywhere, they're not going to tell you, oh, these are the value prices or these are the actual prices. You're going to know when something is valuable or when it's invaluable. It does not have to like work overtime, work hard to try to prove that it's that it's high value. Okay. Because you have to remember this. Those who tell are not, and those who are don't tell. Okay. They're not going to tell you because they don't have to tell you. Valuable men, invaluable men, they don't have to tell you that they are valuable or that they are invaluable. They don't have to tell you that they are high value. If they tell you that that's actually them, they are probably a lie value. Okay. They are trying to convince you or manipulate you before you realize they are lie value, that they are actually not high value. Okay. That they are not going to provide. They are not going to spend this money. They are not going to invest. They're not going to do anything. Okay. They don't have to mention it to you. Yes, they do not. So remember this. Submit does not mean a constant cook, a slave, or a maid, or an abuse victim who accepts abuse to her own detriment. Okay. And lie value men, they are manipulative. I can't even say it. And also, if you are valuable, you do not need to broadcast it or mention it or anything. Women are going to know, will know. Okay. We'll know when you start paying these bills, when you start providing, when you start investing. Okay. Or when you start doing anything. Yes. That's how we'll know you are valuable to us. And yeah, I will end it here. That's all I had to say on this episode. I hope you've been inspired. Be inspired. Bye. You don't have to believe those lie value men who are trying to manipulate you. Okay. Yes. Just remember also, those who tell are not, and those who are don't tell. Okay. They don't have to tell you that, they are high value, because a woman will know they are invaluable. They are, valuable men when they start, spending this money, providing, investing, and paying these bills. A woman will know. It doesn't have to be acknowledged. It doesn't have to be broadcast, be pointed out. A man doesn't have to shout it out at the mountaintops. No, he does not. Okay.